Okay, so now let's move on to more interesting stuff. We are going to query the database to answer a few questions. Here I have a sample of 4 questions. We're going to use dbeaver and write queries to answer these questions. How many employees are there? Obviously, the employees table has all the information we need here. The next one, how many departments are there? There is a departments table that we can look at to answer this question. These both are easy relatively. As I will show you when you follow, you will see. And then the third one is what we're going to do is look at all the first names of the employees and find the unique ones. There are certain ways of doing this. Basically, it's a language, so like any language, it has functions that will help us extract this information. We will see that. And then we will try to answer the more difficult question of who is the highest paid employee in the entire company. So let's start with the first question and see how we can query that in dbeaver. So what you do here is right click on the employees database. What we're going to open is a new SQL script. And then we're going to actually write a structured statement or a SQL statement. So remember what we talked about earlier about the multiple database operations. Again, we're only interested in retrieving information. So what we're going to be is reading information from the database, and to read information from a structured database or a relational database, the specific type of statement we use is a select statement. So I'm not going to go into detail about what the parts of a select statement look like, but I'll try to explain as we go through, try to make it sound more natural for you to understand. But basically how it goes is select something from somewhere based on some condition. This is the simplest form of a select statement. So if we try to formulate this first question of how many employees there are in the employees database, what we need to do is first we need to get all the employees, and then we need to count them. But for the database, we need to tell it, get the employees or get the things or the rows from this place. And once you get them, count them for me. So this is how we're going to tell it. So in SQL, this is how it goes. We select employees. We can count the entire row of employees, or we can focus on a specific column, but it doesn't make any difference because we're only interested in how many employees. Basically, what we're going to do is count the number of rows in the employees table. Basically, that will tell us how many employees there are. So if we need to count, there is a specific keyword in SQL that does exactly that for us. It is called a count, and it's followed by this brackets. So either you can count a specific column, like I said, or you can count all the rows. So right now we're not interested in any specific column because we're interested in the employees. So if we want to say we don't care, we want all of it, we denote that using an asterisk. So this simply reads as select count of all, or select all and then count them. Now we need to tell it where to count it from. And we need to start with a from. So basically we have so far told it, get this specific thing from somewhere. And we know where we want to count. We want to count from the employees database. So what we're going to do is type employees. Every SQL statement in many relational databases ends with a semicolon. Basically, what you're saying is, I am done. This is what my line ends. And once you are here, you have formulated your query. Now what you need to do next is execute it. So using the dbeaver GUI, you can press this play button and it will execute the SQL statement for you and show you the results. So let's do that. So it just executed the SQL statement for us and it gave us the result. So it looks like there are 300,024 employees in this organization. So that's it. We have answered our first question. So pause the video here, execute this statement, and see if we get the same number. If you are right, you should get the same number. If you get a SQL statement error, come back to this video and review the SQL statement. Okay, moving on to the next question. We want to know how many departments are there within the organization. It's very similar to the previous statement. Instead, in this case, we're going to count departments instead of employees. So what we're going to look at is the departments table. So let's do that. We already have the select statement that we executed before. We can replace it here, but let's do a different line. So in order for it not to see this one, we have to comment it out. Basically, we can tell it, ignore this line. And you can do that with the hash sign. And then go to a new line and then type your new statement. So if we want to count departments, we have to do the same thing that we did with employees, but for the departments table. So let's do select count of everything from departments. dbeaver is smart. It will help you autocomplete your query so that you can minimize syntax errors. So let's execute this. Looks like we have 9 departments overall. So we have like 300,000 employees across all the 9 departments within the organization. So let's pause here and then execute this statement and see if you can get the same results. Okay, moving on to the third question that we want to ask our database. How many unique first names are in the organization? So we need to look at the employees table and look at all the first names of the employees, and we want to select only the unique ones, and then we need to count them. So this is becoming more and more complicated, but bear with me. I'll try to make it look as simple as possible so you can follow and repeat it and then try to understand it. So let's comment this out again. Move on to the next one. So there are 3 things. We want the first names, we want the unique first names, and we want a count of the unique first names. So if we were just looking for the first names, we would start with the same thing. We select the first name. I know it's first name because looking at the employees table, looking at the properties, you see it says first underscore name. So I'm going to use that. Select first name from employees. Now, if I executed this, I would get a row of all the first names. You see, but this is not what I want. The question we want to answer is how many unique first names. So let me pause here. You try it, and then we come back, and then we add one more operation and see what that looks like. Okay, so again, the question is, how many unique first names? We have 300,000 plus employees. I'm pretty sure there are at least two employees with their same name, with the same name, so with the same first name. So this query, even if we count it, it wouldn't give us the true answer. So let's see what the count would look like first before choosing the unique ones. This will actually give us some information about whether there are employees with the same name or not. So let's count how many employees are there. This will tell us basically this is the same as, you remember what we say when we used asterisk? We say we don't care about the columns. So here we're choosing one column, but the count is the count because it's going to be the same number of rows. So let's execute this. We get, again, 300,024. That was what we got before. Now, if we count the unique first names, and if there are employees with the same name, then the count would be smaller because we're counting unique names. So to select unique names or unique entries in a column with SQL, what you add is inside the count, you can choose what you want to count. And we want unique ones. We say unique in SQL using the keyword distinct. And then close it. So now it says, give me a count of the unique first names in the employees table. So let's execute this and see. My guess is it would be smaller, which means there are some employees with the same name. So let's see. This is surprising. Of all the 300,000 plus employees, these are the unique names. So there must be some names which are most common. But that is probably an exercise that you can do on your own. We will look at that later on. But the next exercise will give us a little bit more hint of what that question would look like when we formulate it in terms of SQL.